This is Top 30.
Yet another hurricane has devastated islands in the Caribbean, and now it's heading west. The island of Dominica was battered on Monday night by Hurricane Maria. The nation's Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerrit, posted on Monday evening that his roof was gone and said, quote, "I am at the complete mercy of the hurricane." Skerrit was later rescued, but called the damage mind-boggling. Roofs were blown off most buildings. The island's phone and internet services appear to be down. Maria is a potentially catastrophic Category 5 hurricane. It could bring winds up to 160 miles per hour. It's headed for the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, where the National Hurricane Center expects it to arrive Tuesday night and Wednesday. The Hurricane Center also said Maria could raise water levels there by 6 to 9 feet. The British Virgin Islands could see water rise by up to 11 feet. It's the third hurricane to pass through the area in just a few weeks. Many of the islands in its path saw rain and winds from Hurricane Irma. The National Hurricane Center is urging residents on the affected islands to quickly make preparations to protect life and property.
President Trump unleashed his harshest warning yet to North Korea, threatening to, quote, totally destroy the country if it does not give up its nuclear program. Trump spoke extensively about North Korea during Tuesday's address at the United Nations. He refers to North Korean leader Kim Jong-un as Rocket Man and said Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and his regime. While Trump threatened military action, he also said he hoped it would not be necessary and asked the United Nations to do more to pressure North Korea. Kim Jong-un has conducted 6 nuclear tests despite continued warnings from Trump and his administration. The North Korean delegation was seated in the front row during the event, but all 3 left before the president started talking. Americans now owe more money for their cars than ever before. U.S. auto loans have hit a record high of $1.1 trillion. This according to a new report by the credit bureau Experian, and that's an increase of more than 7% from last year. Part of the issue is that buyers are attempting to keep their payments down by extending the terms of their loans. The average loan for a new car is over 68 months, but some buyers are stretching their loans even further. Loans between 61 and 72 months went at 1%, as did loans between 73 and 84 months. Some buyers want an even lower payment. Over 1% get car loans between 85 and 96 months. That is up to 8 years to pay off a car. But this strategy doesn't seem to be working. The average monthly car payment is now $504. Ever since the economic collapse of 2008, car lenders have been pushing the very thing that caused the economic collapse of 2008, subprime loans, lending at higher interest rates to borrowers with worse credit. And it appears to have worked. Last year, auto sales in the US were at a record high. Record sales, massive debt, subprime loans. The only place you're driving that car is off a cliff.
This is what's trending. South African prosecutors want the 6-year murder sentence handed down to former track star Oscar Pistorius to be lengthened. They will argue his sentencing was too lenient and plan to ask the Supreme Court of Appeals for 15 years. Following the New York Giants' loss on Monday night, head coach Ben McAdoo didn't hesitate in placing the blame. He called out veteran quarterback Eli Manning for a delay of game penalty and said he was sloppy. Some fans in Europe were shocked when they played their Beyoncé Lemonade album. The manufacturing plant in Germany accidentally printed music from a Canadian punk rock band called Zex on the opening side. So not Beyoncé. Is one of the best basketball players in the world using a fake Twitter account to defend himself against critics? That's one of the theories behind a couple of mysterious tweets sent from Kevin Durant's Twitter account. Durant has taken a lot of heat for his decision to leave Oklahoma City and join the already dominant Golden State Warriors. Haters say he took the easy way out to win a championship. So one person tweeted at Durant's verified account asking him to name one good reason for leaving OKC see other than winning a championship. And then the verified account tweeted back things like, he didn't like the organization and KD can't win a championship with those cats. The third-person response and utter bluntness has many believing Durant meant to tweet those responses from a different account to make it seem like a fan was coming to his defense. Keep in mind, KD has been kind of sensitive to criticism and even released a shoe last week featuring words like soft, traitor, weak, names he's been called. So was it Durant or someone tweeting from his account? The tweets have been deleted, but the mystery still remains.
US investigators wiretapped the phone of a former campaign chairman to President Trump before and after the election. CNN is reporting the wiretapping of Paul Manafort collected information that concerned investigators, specifically about the possibility he encouraged the Russians to help with the Trump campaign. But sources told CNN that information is not conclusive. The CNN report also says it is unclear whether Trump is heard in any of the wiretapped conversations. Manafort was Trump's campaign chairman for about 3 months before resigning in August of 2016. And according to CNN, the FBI set up the wiretap on Manafort after agents heard intercepted communications between Manafort and Russians last fall. And that allegation is in itself a significant detail. Manafort did not comment on this report, but has previously denied ever knowingly communicating with Russian intelligence operatives during the election. This is Top 30, and we'll be back in a minute. All right, let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute. With your friend and mine, here's Nicole Petalides.
In business news, Apple's new operating system is launching today, just 3 days before the new iPhone 8 starts appearing in stores. The new system will have an all-new control center and app store. It also will include a do not disturb for driving, an easy way to free up storage, and the power to record screens. And Adidas jumping over Nike's Jordans. The Stan Smith maker now owns 13% of the sneaker market in the United States, doubling what it had a year ago. That's according to the market research company NPD Group. Nike still reigns king, but Adidas has given them more than one reason to sweat. A big one is Adidas' booming basketball sales. And don't count on a big raise for next year. This may answer why it doesn't feel like the economy and the job market are getting better. A new survey from global professional services company Aon says base pay is expected to rise just 3% in 2018, up only slightly from 2.9% in 2017.
Could a tennis ball be the key to making football a safer sport? A company created a helmet that changes shape like a tennis ball, and some NFL and college teams are testing out the technology right now. The Vicus 01 helmet is designed by scientists, neurosurgeons, and engineers to reduce head injuries. The outer layer acts as a bumper and compresses to absorb the shock, and the other layers help reduce force and provide comfort. The NFL and its Players Association have tested dozens of concepts over the past few years, and this helmet ranked the highest in safety. An NFL spokesperson told CNN the league is optimistic the helmet will be the first of many novel developments as they continue to stimulate research and innovation. So parents stressed about their kids being safe on the field could soon rest a little easier.
A pharmacy at the University of California at Los Angeles is accused of making drugs with expired ingredients. The Los Angeles Times reports that California's Board of Pharmacy found a facility that prepared drugs for hospital patients was using outdated and sometimes dangerous medication. The board says more than 1,000 IV bags of medication were affected. Many were sterile medications used for heart patients and those undergoing surgery. Investigators believe those IV bags were delivered to at least 350 patients. The pharmacy quietly closed last year, but according to officials at UCLA, that was nothing to do with the investigation. They're calling it, quote, a business decision. They also deny the affected AV bags were given to any patients. The Board of Pharmacy says it's recommending formal disciplinary action, but that is unlikely to be much consolation for patients. Leaving your Bluetooth on leaves you vulnerable to a hack. This type of attack has been given a name as well. It's called Blueborn, and by jumping on your Bluetooth, hackers can access your device in less than 10 seconds. The security research firm Armis found that the bug allows hackers to remotely steal data from devices, not just cell phones, but also laptops, smartwatches, and smart home items, and they can even take control of your camera. So if you're a fan of not having your data stolen, if that is what you really want, then the advice is clear. Just keep updating your devices and, more obviously, only turn on your Bluetooth when you actually need it.
Hollywood has nothing to boast about, at least not in terms of its summer box office, which had the biggest slump Tinseltown has seen in 20 years. And according to the New York Times, many Hollywood insiders are blaming this disastrous summer on the website Rotten Tomatoes. Paul Yanover, the president of Fandango, parent company of Rotten Tomatoes, responded to the accusation saying, "I don't think Rotten Tomatoes can definitively make or break a movie in either direction. However, thanks to rising ticket prices, moviegoing has ceased to be a habit and has become a luxury." Regardless of a film's Rotten Tomato rating, Hollywood's gonna have to accept that people don't want a chance wasting money on something they might not like. This is Top 30, and we'll be right back. In today's Hometown Stories, Heather Yavaliola was at her home in Atlanta, Georgia, when she suddenly went into labor. But there was a problem. A tree had fallen a day prior due to Hurricane Irma and was blocking her and her husband from leaving. Her neighbors came together, and with the help of a chainsaw, a path was cleared. Heather gave birth to 2 healthy boys, and as she told Fox 5 Atlanta, they are sweet little angels. So Irma was no indication of their behavior. In our second story, 12-year-old Marin Lissy lives near the Cedar Falls Park area of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, an area she described to the Herald Sun as a fresh food desert. And so with the sponsorship from the local junior league, she created Produce for Parks, a pop-up farmer's market. Marin's drive and intelligence has been impressive. In fact, 2 of her vendors didn't realize she was 12 until they met her. The pop-up market is currently on a trial basis, but the connection she's created between the farmers and community will last a lifetime. For our final story, Erica Walker had been diagnosed with stage 4 chronic kidney disease and was running out of time. Unsuccessful at finding a kidney donor, she decided to ask her church in Memphis, Tennessee to keep her in their prayers. Jenny Williams not only kept Erica in her prayers, but got tested and found she was a donor match. The operation was a success. As Erica told WREG, "Every day I look at my daughter now, I know I'm going to be there because of what Jenny did."
A new study on commonly confused psychological terms aims to help you clear up the difference between what you're saying and what you mean. The findings were published in the open access journal Frontiers in Education, which listed 50 psychological terms Americans, even highly educated ones, confuse or interchange. According to Eureka Alerts, some of the most commonly confused terms include race and ethnicity, envy and jealousy, and disease and illness. According to the study, envy and jealousy are so frequently confused that few people are aware they differ. Eureka Alert explained that the distinction is pretty simple. Quote, "Envy involves 2 people, whereas jealousy involves 3 or more people." I didn't know that, and I am jealous of the 3 or more of you that did. NASA plans to send people to Mars by 2030, which is why they recently completed an experiment to show what conditions would best suit astronauts on long-term space missions. According to Al Jazeera, the NASA-backed research team was comprised of 4 men and 2 women to have a better understanding of how people would manage the stress, isolation, and danger of a 2 to 3 year trip to Mars. Science officer Samuel Paler said the experiment will contribute to the future exploration of space in general. The experiment was orchestrated by the University of Hawaii and took place on a summit below Oahu's Mauna Loa, the world's largest active volcano. 2 years of stress, isolation, and danger to get to a planet with nothing on it. Good luck with that.
You're used to grabbing your coffee from Starbucks, but how about a chicken and lemon tahini salad? The Java Giant is experimenting with a new lunch menu to try and attract afternoon customers, a time when business is usually slower. The menu is called Mercato, which is Italian for market, and includes a variety of options like goddess avocado salads, burrata and pesto sandwiches, or a farmer's market protein box. Right now, Starbucks is testing the expanded lunch menu at 300 stores in Chicago and Seattle. Experts say Starbucks is at a disadvantage by not having kitchens to make hot food and be able to customize orders. However, once upon a time, someone thought, I wonder if people will like the pumpkin spice latte. So we'll see what happens. At 11 years old, Karis Rogers now holds the record as the youngest designer to ever show a collection at New York Fashion Week, where Karis debuted her Flexin My Conjunction clothing line. We're lucky to have you here. Karis, congratulations.
Thank you.
Flexin My Conjunction. You really had a lot of inspiration behind this line. Tell us about why you started it.
I started my clothing line because I was being teased for my dark complexion, so I wanted to empower others by making my own clothing line saying Flexin My Conjunction.
Well, let me tell you, your complexion is beautiful and worthy of flexing. And I'm gonna brag about you just a little bit, Karis. Celebrities are flexing in their complexions because of you. Lupita Nyong'o, Alicia Keys, they're both fans of yours. Your message to love your skin is so important. Honestly, Karis, it's something as a parent I teach my own kids. I'm always telling my son, your brown skin is so beautiful. How did you learn this lesson at such a young age?
Kids always used to bully me, and I thought, why would they always bully me for me having a dark complexion? So when my mom started telling me, she's always told me that I was beautiful, and I will always look in the mirror and tell myself, I'm confident, I'm unique, I'm special, and it doesn't matter what other people think of me, it's what I think of myself.
Well, you know what? You're an inspiration, Karis, and I hope you feel good about yourself. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here on Top 30.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, and can I wear one of your shirts?
Yes.
Okay, well, I plan on it, and you can too. Check out flexinmyconjunction.com to get these incredible looks in your wardrobe and to make a statement. Top 30 will be right back.
Verizon is disconnecting thousands of customers who say they need its service because they use too much data. Together, the affected customers have about 19,000 lines spread across 13 states. They're mostly in rural areas where Verizon had partnered with regional cell carriers. A Verizon representative said that because of the data those lines use, quote, the roaming costs generated by these lines exceed what these customers pay us each month. But customers say that because they live in remote areas, they often don't have a choice of cell providers. One of those customers told the website Ars Technica, quote, I guess small town America means nothing to these people. We tried calling for a further quote, but couldn't get through. Google is updating its Chrome web browser to prevent websites from auto-playing video or music, sometimes. The browser update is scheduled for January, and Google says it will put you back in the driver's seat. The new browser will block websites that try to play videos that you don't click on, but there are some exceptions. Google uses a system it calls Media Engagement Index to monitor what types of content you do watch, and then will autoplay similar content. So if you do go to a website frequently or watch specific videos, expect them to keep autoplaying. And this is all, broadly speaking, good news, because most of the videos that autoplay are irritating and dreadful.
One Milwaukee area high school is upping the ante on their dress code. The new policy at Milwaukee High School in Waukesha County, Wisconsin, requires all teens planning to wear a dress to the homecoming dance next month to first send in photos for approval. Milwaukee Superintendent Mike Cady says they're just trying to help students by making sure they won't be kicked out of the dance for inappropriate or revealing attire. Some parents are pushing back, calling the policy sexist. Rebecca Shepard is a self-described fan of modesty, but as the parent of a freshman daughter at Milwaukee, she says, quote, the girls are essentially being held responsible for the wayward thoughts administrators think boys have. So I guess this is a sign of the times, but don't worry, to our knowledge, we still have freedom of speech. Sleeping on a flight might be a good way to pass the time, just don't do it during takeoff or landing, according to health professionals. During a plane's ascent and descent, the cabin's air pressure changes with the change in altitude. This change in pressure can cause the eardrums to feel blocked, and if a person isn't awake, they're not properly prepared to acclimate the eardrums. Medline Plus, a health information site by the U.S. National Library of Medicine, reports that the inability to equalize pressure in the eardrums can lead to health problems like dizziness, ear infections, eardrum damage, and even nosebleeds and hearing loss. Medline suggests swallowing, yawning, chewing gum, or drinking water as popular ways one can prevent blockage due to flying. Keeping this in mind, you can safely sleep among the clouds.
That is it for today's Top 30. Here are some other stories coming up that are worth knowing about. A new list says these 100 cities are the best places to live in the United States. There is reportedly over $700 trillion in gold in the ocean, but getting your hands on it isn't cheap. And one man has set a new record by cycling around the world. We'll tell you about his 18,000-mile journey. These stories and more coming up on the next Top 30.